everybody. I'm Lisa Brennan.
And I'm Justin Trice.
Welcome to Crime of the Arts, a true crime podcast that peeks behind the curtain to shine a light on the dark and untold truths of the creative arts.
From film set mysteries to celebrity murders and art heists, these two theater nerds will usher you into the unknown.
This week, I am going to be telling you the story of the Black Dahlia. Do you know the Black Dahlia story?
I'm a little familiar with it.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to be talking about Jennifer Hudson, her tragic family murders. I don't know if you're familiar with that story or not, but
I may have been the one to put it on the list.
Mm-hmm.
I never did it though. So I know that some bad stuff happened, but I don't know all the specifics. Okay, so a little housekeeping. We did get an email from a listener in Ireland about our Matthew Broderick episode. Her name is Tracy. I've actually gone back and forth with her a couple of times. So, hey, Tracy.
What's up, Tracy?
She wanted to just clarify that the part of Ireland that this incident occurred is run by the Brits, not by the Irish.
Her words.
So it's so awesome to have a listener that we don't know to engage with. We love that. So please write into us. You can go on the website and email us or on socials. Please just say, hey, we don't really even need you to give us anything crazy. We would just love to know that you're out there.
Just say, hey, let us know what you think of the stuff. Or if you have suggestions on topics you want us to cover, let us know. Yeah.
So in the conversation I had with her, I was like, listen, I'm trying to branch out of the US and the things that I specifically know. And I'm struggling, do you have anything that you can recommend that's happened over there? And she gave me a story and I'm going to do it.
Hey.
I'll probably do it for the next episode. It looks cool. So thanks, Tracy. Thanks for writing
Tracy.
in.
I can't wait to hear this story.
Yeah. And then I also spoke with our good friend, Jenny Rowe.
Hey.
Yesterday, and she is a weekly listener, so thank you, Jenny Rowe, for always being part of our life source. We love you dearly. She's like, I feel like I'm sitting on our couch
just listening to us talking crap. Only thing that's missing is a giant bag of Doritos or something for me to just keep eating.
Yep. Yep. A giant bag of Doritos was right on the fucking nose. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Okay. Second disclaimer is I have the fucking whooping cough or something. I'm dying if you can't tell that my voice sounds 3 octaves lower. So I'm going to do my best to edit out all of the obnoxious sounds that I make in this episode. Like that. And I have that, that sensory thing where the sound of people chewing or breathing in your ears really bothers me. So I try to I'm very particular when I'm editing these episodes. If I miss any of that, I am so sorry to whoever else has that problem because it makes me cringe. I can't stand it. So I have the whooping cough. This is an odd number. So you're going first.
Wait, is it an odd number?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
Is.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
31. Again,
we record these ahead of time sometimes, so I don't keep track of the numbers. But
yeah,
all right,
we're 31, and this is because it's been crazy in the holidays. We're not batch recording right now, so this is going to be out next week.
It's good times. All right, well this gives you a little more time to recover.
Yeah. God knows I fucking need it.
But yeah, all right. So I told you guys this is going to deal with Jennifer Hudson. What's up,
Oh, by the way, Oscar's here.
Yeah, for anyone, if you guys were wondering if that was my stomach or Lisa's stomach, no, it was
nope,
Oscar.
It's Oscar's face.
Yeah, Oscar the bulldog. He's adorable.
Yeah, he's over here.
I was like, where is he? Oh, he's
in the bed, in the guest room.
Passed out. I love it.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't know what's up.
That's hysterical.
That's my baby.
So yeah, I'm gonna be talking about Jennifer Hudson and some crazy events that went down, and I feel like we all know at this point who Jennifer Hudson is, but I still got to do my thing and kind of go back a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So Jennifer Hudson, she is this now iconic singer,
powerhouse
singer, powerhouse actress. and talk show host basically now because she has her own show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has her own talk show. I think her show.
Was she also American Idol?
Yep, and that's what I was going to get at. She
what
was
are all these American Idol stars getting their own TV shows? Kelly Clarkson's got her own show.
It's better when you lose American Idol. I mean, Kelly Clarkson's like the most successful winner, but like, you know, there was that time when it was just better to lose. And yeah, that's what happened. I mean, Jennifer Hudson, she essentially rose to her fame after becoming the finalist on the 3rd season of American Idol. After finishing in 7th place on the show, which many American Idol fans, they still talk about like the bullshit behind all of that. You know, she should have went further, clearly. But she went on to have a successful career as an R&B singer. She released 3 chart-topping albums to date.
Movies, Broadway.
She was also able to transition into acting not long after American Idol. And, you know, she appeared in several movies, which is Dreamgirls, which, you know, everybody fucking knows. Yeah, with Beyonce. I mean, that's how Jennifer Hudson got her Oscar win. You know, she was like...
She has an Oscar.
Yeah. She was like in A Secret Life of Bees, Monster, all these other films. But...
was she in The Color Purple?
Not the movie, but she might have made the Broadway. She might have popped up. I know Fantasia at one point popped up on A Color Purple.
Maybe that's
Broadway.
What I was thinking. Yeah. Fantasia. Yeah.
But yeah, Jennifer Hudson was excuse me, was born in Chicago, Illinois on September. I know. It's like I have the infection. Anyone who listens to this podcast will get it. Instead of the ring, it's just the podcast. It's the listen.
God.
But no, you're good. Jennifer Hudson was born in Chicago, Illinois on September 12th, 1981. So she's the youngest of 3 children and grew up in Chicago area like her entire childhood. So like she's from Chicago. That's her life. That's her neighborhood. Yeah. From a young age, she always had an interest in the performing arts and was inspired to pursue singing by Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston. That's what she grew up listening to. That's what inspired her.
Well, you could tell.
Yeah.
You could tell.
After graduating from Dunbar Vocational High School in 1999, she briefly attended Langston University before dropping out after a semester and transferring to Kennedy King College, which was closer to home.
Langston Hughes.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking once it said Langston University. After finishing her college education, she signed her first recording contract with a local independent record label in Chicago called Righteous Records in 2002. For those also who does, you know, her family, church going, very religious, things of that nature. So you can imagine Righteous Records sounds like
it's probably a gospel.
Yeah, gospel label.
Yeah.
However, she was released from her 5-year contract in 2004, only 2 years later, so that she could participate in the 3rd season of American Idol. So she auditioned for the show in Atlanta and made it all the way to the top 7 before getting eliminated. Many were surprised that she was eliminated at that point in the show because she was considered by many to be one of the strongest contestants of the group for that season. The winner of that season, everybody knows, was Fantasia, who went on to have a successful singing career in her own right as well. Yeah, Fantasia won that season. Yeah, that season was a very wild season.
So let's recap for a second. American Idol is a competition singing show where nobody's come in and auditioned for Simon Cowell, Paul Abdul, and Randy Jackson.
Yeah, Randy Jackson at the time.
Third season. And each week they picked a song and they had to perform it and blah, 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 blah. I know at some point the audience, us, would vote for the people you wanted, and then the people who had the lowest score
would then got
eliminated.
Home.
Is that how it went?
That's exactly how it went.
But I remember there being a caveat at some point where they could save someone. Do you remember that?
That came later on in the season.
Later? Okay.
And I think that save could only be used once or something crazy.
Once. Yep. They all had to agree. I feel like
after the Sanjaya incident, the save was introduced because I don't know if you remember Sanjaya. I'm sorry, like anyone that watched American Idol, you know, the boy could not sing. He could not fucking sing, but he just had, community wise, culture wise, he had everybody call it in. He was always getting top vote.
I don't remember this.
Some of the best singers were getting eliminated next to him. That's when they were like, fuck that. We got to introduce Save. He eventually got eliminated.
When I worked in one of the cemeteries I was in, I live in Nashville, so there's a lot of music stars here. And I've had 2 music videos filmed in my cemetery when I worked there. And one of them was David Archuleta.
Oh, damn. Okay. Like I said, she lost. She got removed during the top 7. Everyone was mad. But, you know, again, as we've learned in the history of American Idol, those who lose tend to win the most.
Right,
so
in life.
A year after her appearance on American Idol, she was cast in a movie, Dreamgirls, and one of the leading roles is Effie White alongside Beyonce.
The movie's amazing.
And let's not forget, like, yes, Beyonce was in the film, but I mean, Eddie Murphy, who some could argue that was his fucking comeback, he also was in that film. And, you know, while most of the Beehive fans, if you will, they all went to see Dreamgirls for that, they were in for a nice treat because, I mean, Jennifer Hudson's performance, she killed it.
I mean, this might be controversial, but she might be able to outsing Beyonce.
Oh, I feel that's not controversial. I feel like hands down. I mean, well, again, some Beyonce fans are so diehard, they might be offended. But the truth is, I mean, Jennifer Hudson sang laps around her. I'm sorry. Like, Beyonce didn't get the nomination. Jennifer Hudson got it.
Fair enough.
And she won. But, I mean, you could feel the emotion in that song.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
But
it's amazing.
It just, she was a powerhouse. But yeah, the movie itself became a huge success, and Hudson received major praise for her first performance ever on the big screen. And she was able to display her musical prowess, basically. And that's how she ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2006. And from there, she started to gain more recognition. You know, the following year, she became the first African-American singer to make the cover of Vogue magazine. Like, she started doing more film roles. And and again, that was like, you know, the movie was 2006. So like Oscars for that was 2007. Just putting years into perspective now for what's coming.
Sorry, hold on a second.
No, you're good.
Dying.
You're good. Oh my goodness.
Oscar, why are you the loudest right now? He just looks at me like, you're okay? You're still alive. It's fine. It's okay. Okay, bye. He's sleeping again. Okay.
He's too funny. All that stuff went down. And then 2008 was a big year, some would say, for Jennifer Hudson for both her acting and music career. You know, following her success with Dreamgirls, she appeared in Sex and the City. You know, the movie, remember, as Carrie Bradshaw's assistant. It's okay. I don't watch it either, but I remember them showing that commercial a lot, the trailer a lot. And then she was in The Secret Life of Bees as the mother of one of the characters the same year. And then, you know, music side, she had some other stuff going on, which we're going to get into. But although Jennifer Hudson was like literally on top of the world and she was continued to rise, unfortunately, she experienced probably one of the most horrific tragedies in her life towards the end of that year. So to paint a picture, October 24th, 2008, her mother and brother were found shot dead, basically inside the family home in Chicago, where her older sister also lived. Her mother, Donald Donnerson, was 59 years old, and her brother, Jason, was only 29 years old.
God, they're both so young.
At the same time, Jennifer Hudson's 7-year-old nephew, Julian King, who is the son of her older sister that lived in that house, was also reported missing. And they sent out an Amber Alert. A
missing child and 2 people were murdered.
And 2 people were murdered.
Holy shit. It's like out of a fucking movie.
The only people not in the house, like I said, was ultimately was the sister.
And the child's father?
The child's father is already out of the picture. However, the sister was remarried. And the estranged husband, if you will, was not there. And I'm going to actually get into that right now. Okay. So let's go back. Jennifer Hudson's sister, Julia Hudson, throw that out there. Her name's Julia.
She named her son after herself?
Julianne, get it? Yeah, pretty much. She was married to someone the family have known a long time and they didn't necessarily approve of. She ended up marrying a man named William Balfour. William Balfour went to like elementary school with Jennifer and Julia and all these things. Like, they've known him their whole lives. He comes from a very rough home. His father was a criminal. There was all this other shit going on. William himself, by the time he got into high school, got into a lot of trouble, was getting arrested when he was doing like carjacking, drug dealing, and allegedly attempted murder.
Oh, geez.
When he got out of prison in 2006, he was out on parole, he reconnected with Jennifer's sister, Julia, who was a single mom who drove a school bus for a living. They got married, William and Julia. And, you know, Balfour, he was always like a self-pronounced parent, proud step-parent to Julia's young son. Jennifer and Jennifer's family never liked William. I don't necessarily blame them. I understand where they're coming from. You know, this guy did a lot of shit, and he's not a great guy, not a great influence around the nephew. So it became a topic of a thing where they never wanted them to marry. They voiced that opinion a lot. After a year of marriage, though, Julia wanted out of the marriage. So basically, they kicked William out of that house, the family home. Okay. Which the mother, the brother, yeah. So they essentially kicked him out, was like, you got to go. She didn't want to deal with him anymore. So you could say they were separated. Not divorced, but they were separated. And he threatened Julia, saying, if you leave me, you'll be the last to die. I'll kill your whole family first.
Oh, my God. What?
Yeah. So,
oh, my God.
To put this in perspective, and on October 24th, 2008, the day after Julia's birthday, Balfour drove past the house, saw some balloons, which he was convinced had been given to her by a new boyfriend or just a new guy.
Oh, so he's crazy.
Yeah. Julia left
just
for work.
Making shit up.
He's just an asshole. But Julia left for work. Balfour went into the house. He shot the brother and the mother.
And the mother. And then he took the son.
Yeah. And then he took the son.
That's terrifying.
So with all of that said, you know, Julia came home to find her mother dead. As she rang 911, she was hit by the thought that something might have happened to her brother. Then came the horrible realization that she was looking at and realized her son was missing. For 3 days, no one knew what happened to her son.
Holy fuck. Oh my God. I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine.
Terrifying. An Amber Alert was created. All these things were put in place.
And this man has no legal rights to this child.
Correct. No legal rights whatsoever. Yeah, he kidnapped the child. Jennifer Hudson even reached out on MySpace with a plea asking if anyone's seen the boy. Yeah, because this was, again, 2008.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, after the 3 days of searching, they finally find a vehicle with the child dead. Shot twice in the back of the head. Yeah. So now her mother, her brother, her nephew, dead.
He killed the 7-year-old?
He killed them.
Holy shit. I did not expect you to say that at all. Why take him?
The gun that he allegedly used was then, disposed in a vacant lot, which they ended up getting as well.
Holy fuck.
So all in one day, she loses most of her family, half her family. Yeah. And I mean, if her sister was home, her sister would have been dead as well,
Oh my God. That's horrible. That's so horrible. He's a fucking serial killer. He went on a killing spree.
Again, he just wiped out her family. And I mean, I remember seeing vaguely on the news when they first announced her nephew was missing. And I thought maybe it's a domestic dispute thing. And then to find out that
it's horrible and horrible and horrible.
Most of her family was just wiped out in their family home. I can't even imagine the level of grieving and sadness that you're going to have now with that. God. So that went down, and at the court hearings, prosecutors claimed the witness who was romantically involved with Balfour at the time even claimed to have seen the gun used in the murders of the Hudson family in his possession at one point in time.
Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
This motherfucker is mad that she might have got balloons from someone else, but he's already romantically involved with someone else.
Let it sink in.
Don't make me flip this fucking desk over.
Double standards at its best. He could be with whoever he wants. She can't be. Like I said, double standards at its best. But
oh my God. Okay.
He pled not guilty at the time.
Oh, go fuck yourself. He pled not guilty.
The overwhelming amount of evidence pointing to him as a perpetrator. Despite his defense team's efforts, they were unable to prove his innocence. And he'll now spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole, which is what he deserves. He was eventually arrested and charged with the murder of all 3 victims in December of that year. And they found the murder weapon and was sentenced to 3 life sentences plus 120 years in prison.
I love those end slaps with 120 more fucking years.
He got what he deserved and more, and we're here for it.
Well, I hope that they stick him in a closet for the next 3 lifetimes and 120 years.
And then in the wake of the murders, Hudson, she took a step away from the limelight to cope with the loss of the 3 family members. She had technically gone through a divorce of her own just a year before the incident. She was dealing with a lot of personal stuff in her own life before that happened.
Oh, God. Could it get fucking worse? Holy shit.
She basically made her first appearance after the murders on February 2009 when she sung at the Super Bowl that year and went on tour with Robin Thicke shortly after. She also released her debut album literally like the end of 2008, because, it was pretty much done by then. She just had to release it. We just didn't publicly see her. So she released that album at the end of 2008. And, she went on. That was her debut album. She went on to win the Grammy for that. And then we didn't physically see her make an appearance until 2009.
Wow.
Like I said, when she was at the Super Bowl, things like that.
I mean, it's amazing because she really was at this height of her life, essentially, right? Everything was on the up. And then all of the fucking sudden, talk about the rug being pulled out from underneath you. Your entire support system is gone, right? Your mother, your sibling, your sister's grieving from the loss of a child, which is unimaginable. And then you get a divorce?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that money can buy to fix any of this shit.
Correct. And the fact that she was able to handle so much of it. And, she even went on to forgive William for what he did.
Nope. Fuck that.
On the personal level, I could not. I understand where she is coming from, but I couldn't do it. Essentially, what she was saying is, in this world, William never had a chance to be a normal person due to how he grew up and what his dad did and all these things. And to an extent, I see where she's coming from.
Yeah, sure. She's a better person than me,
maybe. She's a better person. I'm not a better person to that level. Also, I mean, she's just indomitable. She's strong as fuck. You endured all these things and then you still continued with your life and your career. Because after all of that, like I said, she continued to just rise. And, between more albums after that and more tours, now she has her own talk show. It's called The Jennifer Hudson Show, which, aired earlier last year. Yeah.
You just put her in a whole new light for me. Yeah. Seriously. All of those things happening at the same time is really daunting. And I'm a person who's been through some serious shit that have been out of my control. And that's one of those things. She's lived that life that has just been, she got pummeled all in a span of, 24 months. She was brought all the way up to be dragged all the way down. And she's still here.
And she's still here.
She's very relevant. She's got her own fucking TV show. And the thing that's cool about that platform that she has is she can kind of utilize that.
Exactly.
To help people who are going through things that once you've experienced something horrible like that, a lot of people, me included, find healing in helping others and talking to others who are experiencing or currently going through something you've already overcome.
Right.
So I hope that she finds some kind of soul healing and release in having this little talk show and whatever her platform is. It's awesome.
Same. And this show was originally pitched as a replacement for the Ellen DeGeneres show. Because I said Wendy Williams, but I'm like, no, it's Ellen DeGeneres.
I don't know if you said Wendy Williams.
Oh, okay. I thought I did earlier, but yeah, okay. Ellen DeGeneres show, it was supposed to be a replacement for that. And it had a lot of similar elements to that show. So she's working with the same executive producers from the show, and it's even filmed with parts of the set from Ellen's show. Huh. But that's the catch. Is although she experienced a tragedy, insane tragedy in her family all those years ago, she was still able to bounce back and continue to flourish in her career in the entertainment industry, which is that's impressive.
You always find these stories. I find horrible people and they're not redeemable at all. And you always find these stories of people who are just crawling out of shit and you tell their amazing stories.
Well, you technically found the story. You put it on the list and I saw it on the list. It's been there for a while. I was like, all right. I was like, let me. So you technically found this one, but
I know, but you did it, and it went to the right person. This was a Justin story. This was not a Lisa story.
So it's a little bit brighter than what's to come with your story. I'm sure.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Unfucking doubtably.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's my story of Jennifer Hudson.
Oh my God. I love her. I have so much more respect. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just feel I feel so much for her.
That abomination movie musical Cats. I don't like talking about the movie because I just frankly
we shouldn't even address it.
But I have to address it because she's singing one of the biggest songs for that musical, that movie. Memories. But I was just saying Memories? Yeah, she sings Memories, but now that you know all of this, it puts things in a new perspective because it's like she's accessing such pain.
Oh my God.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah. So that's the only reason I'm bringing it up. Yeah.
I was very fortunate when I was a kid. I went to a lot of Broadway shows. And I have an aunt who I've had a lot of theater influence in my life. My aunt was a dancer and she would always take me for my birthday to Broadway shows. And I also went to an elementary school that would field trip to Broadway shows. It's the perk of being a kid who grew up in New York, right?
Right.
And they took us to go see Cats. I'll never, ever, ever forget. I was so excited to be there. I loved it, like, in person, like, whatever. There was nothing that it was going to do that was going to make me unhappy. But my mom, man, she fell asleep. And I remember looking at her being like, how is she sleeping? There's no fucking way as an adult right now I can make it through Cats. There's no way.
I couldn't make it through as a kid. So I just can't stand that fucking musical. And bring it on, people. I know, because every time I say that shit, sometimes I'm like posting subliminals on social media. Everybody wants to attack me in my DMs about Cats. I just don't like Cats.
So then when they turned it into a fucking movie, okay, and you get like James Corbin and like Taylor Swift's face superimposed on Cat, whatever. I can't. Who was on mushrooms when they shot that out in the fucking boardroom and they were like, yes.
You got a Jason Derulo cat and an Idris Elba cat. And I'm like, we know this guy don't sing. And it was
Justin. Okay, I've never seen it, so I did not know there was a Jason Derulo.
You need to watch the movie. It's Idris Elba's like the main villain. Like, it's really him. I love him. Okay, well, that's great, but it didn't help the movie. Judi Dench with the face. Yeah, no. It was that movie I cannot do. But Jennifer Hudson was in that movie singing her ass off. And again, it was Memories. And, it's sung every 5 seconds. And
probably Taylor Swift's like dream to be turned into a cat. I feel like she's a cat person. She is, right? She's got I think I saw actually an article or clickbait or whatever that her cat's worth $97 million.
Yeah, I saw some shit on that and I didn't even click on it. I was like, you go, Taylor. You do.
I didn't either, but I was like, what the fuck? A cat, $97 million? Who wants a cat for $97 million? I don't understand.
I was like, does your cat have promos I don't know about? But yeah.
Is your cat shit gold? What the fuck, $97 million? The hell out of here. Okay. Let me get my life together here. Give me 1 second. Okay, Oscar, you ready? He's looking at me sideways. Here we go. So, the Black Dahlia is a very old story. I feel like it's kind of infamous in the true crime world. And the reason that it falls under, for us, is because she was technically a aspiring actress. So that's where I'm coming in on this angle. But I'm going to take it with a little bit of a different eye. So I found some really crazy theories.
I'm ready for it.
So we're going to try and solve this one.
Oh, we're going to try. Okay.
Yeah, you tell me what out of these theories you think. I think that there's an answer in here. I do. I think that there's an answer. So in 1947, there was a murder of a woman named Elizabeth Short. She's also known as the Black Dahlia, and it's one of the oldest cold cases in LA history.
Okay.
Not only was it an absolutely horrific crime, and we'll get a little bit into what that is, but it's also proven notoriously difficult to solve so far. In decades since the Black Dahlia murder, police, the press, amateur sleuths on web sleuths have all delved deep into this unsolved crime and developed several convincing theories. I, for one, am convinced of one. I think one of them is the truth.
Let's hear it.
So though we still don't know who killed Elizabeth Short, poring over the evidence of this case is just as darkly fascinating today as it was back in 1947. Let's give you a little backstory. Miss Elizabeth Short was born July 29th, 1924 in Hyde Park section of Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston.
And she was the third of 5 daughters to Cleo Short and his wife, Phoebe. So in 1927, the Short family briefly relocated to Portland, Maine, before settling in Medford, a suburb of Boston. The Short family built miniature golf courses. That was their family business. But he ended up losing his entire savings, the father, in the 1929 stock market crash.
Oh, damn.
And in 1930, his car was found abandoned on the Charlestown Bridge, and it is assumed that he jumped into the river after he lost everything.
But they never found his body.
No.
Okay.
So believing her husband to be deceased, Short's mother began working as a bookkeeper to support the family. Sorry, this is going to be rough.
You're good.
Troubled by bronchitis and severe asthma attacks.
Are you talking about yourself right now?
No, but Elizabeth underwent lung surgery in, how old was she? She was born 27. She was 15 when she had lung surgery. That's the 40? It's a horrible time to have surgery.
I was going to say, back then, I didn't even know lung surgery was a thing, extensive. Oh, what's the survival rate on that?
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
And so the doctors did this lung surgery, and they suggested she periodically relocate to milder climate to prevent further respiratory problems, which was, we've had like 4 fucking stories on this podcast that this has been the case. Oh, you're sick? Go to the equator. Like, whatever it is, just head south.
You got tuberculosis, head on down to the border.
So in short, just the way everyone else, her mother sent her to Miami, Florida to be with family and friends for the next 3 years. In her sophomore year, she dropped out of high school. And in late 1942, her mother received a letter of apology from her presumed dead husband, which revealed that he was in fact alive and had started a new life in California. This motherfucker left his wife and 3 kids and pretended to jump off a bridge.
Wow.
Yo, I would have walked to California and hurt this man if I was her mother.
He just popped up like, hey.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just couldn't take it. I pretended to jump off that bridge and took my life. I'm so sorry you were sad. In December, at 18 years old, Elizabeth Short relocated to Viejo, California to live with her father, whom she had not seen since she was 6.
Oh, boy.
Could you fucking imagine? I don't understand. This part fascinates me. So he was working at a nearby Navy shipyard in the San Francisco Bay. And arguments between Elizabeth and her father led to her moving out in January of 1943. And she ended up moving to Santa Barbara, where she was arrested September 23rd, 1943, for drinking at a local bar underage.
Okay.
The juvenile authorities sent her back to Massachusetts to her mother, but she returned instead to Florida, making only occasional visits to her family near Boston. While in Florida, Short met Major Matthew Michael Gordon Jr., a decorated Army Air Forces officer.
That sounds like a very decorated name.
Yes, he was an officer of the 2nd Air Commando Group and was training for deployment to Southeast Asia in World War II. And Elizabeth later told friends that Gordon had written to propose marriage while he was recovering from injuries from a plane crash in India. You know, it's like the very typical World War II stories. Yep. They're all afraid they're going to die and they do all these things. So she accepted his offer via letter, but he did end up dying in a second crash on August 10th, 1945, less than a week before the war was actually going to end.
Damn.
Yo. Hard life this kid's had. July 1946, she relocates back to Los Angeles, where she spent the last 6 months of her life in Southern California, mostly in the LA area.
Okay.
Shortly before her death, she had been working as a waitress, and she rented a room behind the Florentine Gardens nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard. And she had been described and depicted as an aspiring actress and a would-be actress, quote unquote. But according to some sources, she did, in fact, have aspirations of being a film star, but had no known professional acting credits or jobs. Poor thing.
And she still have the lung illness there, like...
Right. I mean, it's pretty warm in California.
Yeah, it's pretty warm. As long as she stays filming out there, we're good.
So on January 15, 1947, Elizabeth Short's dead body was found in a Los Angeles neighborhood of Leimert Park.
Okay.
The first person who reported the horrible sighting was a mother who went out for a morning walk with her kid. Could you fucking imagine? Listen, if you go like walking in the woods, finding a dead body feels like it's not that out of character. But like just walking through your neighborhood and finding the way that they found her.
No, that's crazy.
Nuts. So according to the woman, the way Elizabeth's body had been posed made her think that it was actually a mannequin rather than a person at first. But upon a closer look, revealed the true horror that is the Black Dahlia crime. It's horrible. Do you know like the specifics of what happened to her?
Not to her.
Okay. 22-year-old Short had been sliced in two at the waist and completely drained of all of her blood. Some of her organs, such as her intestines, had been removed and neatly placed beneath her buttocks. Pieces of flesh had been cut away from her thighs and her breasts, and her stomach was full of feces, leading some to believe that she had been forced to eat them before she was murdered, which is insane. So the most chilling mutilations, however, were the lacerations to her face. She had Joker cuts. So they sliced her face from the corners of her mouth to her ears, creating that Glasgow smile, they call it.
That's crazy.
So since the body had already been washed clean, the LAPD detectives concluded that she must have been killed elsewhere before being dumped in that park.
And what year was this again? I'm sorry.
This was in 47.
47. Okay.
Near her body, detectives noted a heel print and a cement sack with traces of blood that had presumably been used to transport her body to the vacant lot. And the LAPD reached out to the FBI to help identify the body by searching their fingerprint database. And her fingerprints turned up quickly because she had actually applied for a job as a clerk in a commissary in one of the Air Force bases.
Okay.
And then her prints turned up a second time since she had been arrested in Santa Barbara for underage drinking. So the FBI had also had her mugshot from her arrest, which they provided to the press, which, of course, why not? Because the press fucking sucks. Mm-hmm. Like, we can't find a picture of this woman that's not a mugshot. She's been brutally murdered. Do we have to say
Exactly. Do we have to take it to that level and show her and, just looking drunk or whatever?
At a low point in her life? Yeah, it's just garbage. So before long, the media began reporting very salacious details, everything that they could find about her. Her mother, Phoebe, didn't learn of her daughter's death until the reporters at the LA Examiner called her and pretended that Elizabeth had won a beauty contest. And they pumped her for all the details they could get about her. And then they revealed the truth that she was found murdered. Could you fucking imagine? Do better. The cops need to do better. The horror in a journalist lying to get information and then telling the truth to the family and being the first person to do that is horrible. So they told her that her daughter had been murdered and her corpse had been dismembered in unspeakable ways. As the media learned more about Elizabeth Short's history, they began to brand her as a sexual deviant because that's what the fuck they did in the 40s. And one police report read, this victim knew at least 50 men at the time of her death, and at least 25 men had been seen with her in the last 60 days preceding her death. She was known as a teaser of men.
Oh, here we go with the bullshit.
Justin.
A seducer sort, a teaser of men.
Oh, she was a man-eater. She was a sexual deviant.
She was a land siren. I don't know.
A land siren. Wow. I don't know why it always has to turn into this, right? What? Why? Why is it that women are always immediately something horrible has happened to this woman and she is slut shamed for nothing? It's just made up. There's no information here. Even if it was true, what the fuck is the problem?
Why do we resort to that? Yeah.
Oh God, it's so ugly. So that's when they gave her the nickname the Black Dahlia due to her reported preference of wearing a lot of sheer black clothing. Right? This is all the shit that kept coming up in the 40s for this way of like kind of ruining her and almost explaining away what has happened or why this has occurred to her.
Right.
So adding to her mystique, Short was reportedly a Hollywood hopeful. She had moved to LA just 6 months before her death and worked as a waitress. Sadly, she didn't make it. I can't stand the media when it comes to all of this stuff, especially back then. I mean, not that the media isn't worth anything ethical most of the time at this point, but it was just like a free-for-all back in the day, So as famous as this case is, authorities had tremendous difficulty figuring out who was behind it. However, members of the media did receive a few clues. So on January 21st, about a week after her body was found, the Examiner received a call from a person claiming to be the murderer. He said he would be sending Short's belongings in the mail to prove his claim. And shortly after, on the 24th, the examiner received a package with her birth certificate, photos, business cards, and an address book with the name Mark Hansen on the cover. Also included was a letter pasted together from news and magazine clippings like a fucking ransom note.
Oh my goodness.
Just the way you would picture it. That said, the LA Examiner and other Los Angeles papers, here is Dahlia's belongings, letter to follow.
Jeez.
I just made this connection now, but you see a lot of connections to these Batman villains in this, don't you? You got the Joker, you got the Riddler, right? That's so weird.
There's a lot. There's a lot there. There's some connections.
I didn't connect that until reading it out loud just now, but that's fucking strange. Okay. All of the items had been wiped down with gasoline to make sure there were no fingerprints left on them.
Why gasoline? No, I
mean, that's probably just what they knew would work back then.
Okay.
What else are you going to use? You know what I mean? Like,
just imagine being a detective there, or like part of, I mean, there was no forensics back then, but just imagine being an officer on the scene or a lieutenant and you're just like, I've never seen anything like this. And you pull out the cigarette and you can fucking inadvertently burn
right?
all the evidence.
You definitely smoke what they were in the 40s.
Is that what they were counting on? This person was probably counting on they would accidentally burn up the evidence.
Hey. Maybe.
Okay.
So a partial fingerprint was found on the envelope, but it was damaged in transport and it was never analyzed. So thanks for the tip. On January 26th, another letter arrived. And this handwritten note read, here it is. Turning in Wednesday, January 29, 10 a.m. Had my fun at police. Black Dahlia Avenger. The letter included a location. Police waited at the appointed time and place, but the person who wrote that letter never showed up. Afterward, the alleged killer sent a note made of letters cut and pasted from magazines. And it said, changed my mind. You would not give me a square deal. Dahlia killer was justified.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, people suck. I don't think that this has anything to do with the real killer at all. I think this is people being bored and crazy. So yet again, everything sent by that person had been wiped down with gasoline, and investigators couldn't lift any fingerprints from anything for evidence.
This is crazy.
At one point, the LAPD had 750 investigators on this case and had interviewed more than 150 potential suspects linked to Elizabeth Short's murder. Officers heard more than 60 confessions during the initial investigation, but none of them were considered legitimate. Could you fucking imagine 60 confessions to murdering her and none of them are real?
Countless hours and research looking into these confessions only to find nothing.
Oh my God. Well, no fucking wonder it's not solved.
Yeah, because they had to waste all that time on that.
Energy and time on all these lunatics. You know, when we look at so many cases now that of like forced confessions, and people are just willy-nilly, 60 of them? It's crazy. It's crazy.
They just wanted the attention. Even back then, people were seeking attention.
Yup. But, like, at what cost? Why do you want to be the... whatever. People are fucking nuts. I can't relate. So, since then, there have been more than 500 confessions, none of which led to anyone being charged for anything ever. As time went on and the case went cold, many people assumed that the Black Dahlia's murder was a date gone wrong, or that Elizabeth had run into a sinister stranger late in the night while walking home alone. After over 70 years, the Black Dahlia case remains open. It's not closed. It's not solved. It's just untouched. But in recent years, a couple of intriguing and very chilling theories have come to light.
Let's hear it. I was waiting for this.
So there is a man who thinks that his father killed Elizabeth Short. Shortly after his father's death in 1999, a now retired LAPD detective named Steve Hodel was going through his father's belongings when he noticed two photos of a woman who bore a striking resemblance to Elizabeth Short. After discovering these haunting images, Hodel began using his skills as a police investigator to investigate his own deceased father.
Jeez.
He went through newspaper archives and witness interviews from the case and even filed a FOIA Act, Freedom of Information Act request to obtain FBI files on Elizabeth Short's murder. He had a handwriting expert compare samples of his father's writing to the handwritten note that the press received, and the analysis found a strong possibility that his father's handwriting matched the results, but they were inconclusive. I feel like there's no company that's going to be like 100% yes.
Definitely not.
There's There's too much risk in that, isn't there?
Way too much liability.
On the grislier side, the Black Dahlia crime scene photos showed that Short's body had been cut in a manner consistent with, I phonetically wrote this out, so everyone bear with me. Hemicorporectomy, a medical procedure that slices the body beneath the lumbar spine. Now, the reason this is important is because Hodell's father had been a doctor.
Oh, no. Because, I mean, when you first told us about the murder, I was like, whoever did this has to be surgical. This is, you know. Uh-huh.
So he attended medical school when this procedure was being taught in the 1930s. So additionally, Hodell searched his father's archives at UCLA, finding a folder full of receipts for contracting work on his childhood home. In that folder, there was a receipt dated a few days before the murder for a large bag of concrete, the same size and brand as the concrete bag found near Elizabeth Short's body. By the time Hodell began his investigation, many of the police officers who had originally worked on this case had already passed away.
Correct.
However, he carefully reconstructed conversations these officers had about the case. And eventually, Hodell compiled all of the evidence into a 2003 best-selling book called Black Dahlia Avenger, The True Story. So while fact-checking the book, the LA Times columnist Steve Lopez requested official police files from the case and made an important discovery. Shortly after the murder, the LAPD had 6 main suspects, and George Hodell was on the list. In fact, he was such a serious suspect that his home was bugged in the 1950s so the police could monitor his activities. Could you fucking imagine? They were so close. There's so much bullshit in the way.
And what stopped them? What stopped them? Well, I mean, obviously, again, all the false confessions, things like that. But I mean, I'm impressed that this man's doing all this research now to only discover that his father was on the short list. Like,
right?
Wow.
Yeah, his intuition is pretty spot on. So much of the audio was innocuous, right? I'm sure there's hours and hours and hours of shit that nobody fucking wants to hear. Again, this is like the the tapes that we just talked about in the last episode. Who's the person who's the guy who had to sit and listen to this people's houses for hours and hours? It's awful. But there was one chilling exchange that stuck out. At 8:25 p.m., you hear a woman scream, and then you hear a woman scream again. And it should be noted, the woman had not been heard before the scream. Later that day, George Hodell was overheard telling someone, and I quote, "Realized there was nothing I could do. Put a pillow over her head and cover her with a blanket. Get a taxi." Expired 12:59. They thought there was something fishy. Anyway, now they may have figured it out. Killed her.
Wow.
He continued, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead." Yep, look at Justin's face, everyone. If you're watching this video, Justin's eyes bugged out and he backed up.
She's dead. Why? Of old age, or did he murder her?
Fucking sounds like he murdered her to me, Justin.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
Like,
right.
Too many people knew. Dead people don't talk kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
So after the shocking revelation, which seems to support George Hodell's killing of Elizabeth Short, did he also kill the secretary? Sounds like it to me.
Do we have any information on where the secretary was, or did they just disappear off the face of the earth?
I got nothing.
Okay.
I have nothing about the secretary.
All right. Well, this is even crazier now. Okay.
Yeah. So the Black Dahlia case still hasn't been officially closed. However, this hasn't stopped Steve Hodell from investigating his father, and he says that he's found details from dozens of other murders that could possibly be connected to his father as well, implicating him in not only the Black Dahlia murder, but it also makes him like a deranged serial killer. Crazy people in this world, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, the fact that he did what he did and then went on to raise a family, and his son is a detective.
I mean, look, there's a lot of those serial killers, BTK, that people just don't even know. Have you heard about recently? There's a woman who came forward like in the last 3 months, probably saying that her father was a serial killer.
Yeah, I did hear about that. But I'm just like, this man's son is a cop now that is trying to solve this case. That's like even crazier to me. Like,
well, and he's retired by the time he's trying to figure this out. So his father was alive while he was a cop in the same fucking county that he murdered people in.
That's mind blowing. That's fucking mind-blowing.
And I just think it's crazy that you need to prove that your father was a serial killer. Like, there's nothing to really be gained here, right? Besides the claim that you may have solved one of the oldest cases. But it's also got this double-edged sword effect where you're ruining your own family name.
Well, but it's also for a peace of mind. He needs to know the clarity of...
Yeah, who his father was.
Because, I mean, yeah, he's probably feeling now he doesn't know who that man was at all, you know?
Right. Crazy. So either way, Hodell's research has garnered some attention from law enforcement. And in 2004, Stephen R.K., the head deputy for the LA County District Attorney's Office, said that if George Hodell had still been alive, they would have had enough to indict him on Elizabeth Short's murder. It's a very, very interesting theory. I think this is the true possibility. I think this is what actually happened. And I bet that they will probably one day decide that it was him, and they'll find multiple murders that he's been a part of. That's what I think.
That's still crazy.
But there's another theory.
Let's hear it.
Oh my God. In 2017, a British author named Pugh Atwell announced that she had finally solved the decades-old case and published her findings in a book called Black Dahlia, Red Rose, The Crime, Corruption, and Cover-Up of America's Greatest Unsolved Murder. The real culprit, she claimed, is Leslie Dillon, a man who police briefly considered the primary suspect, but ultimately they let him go. However, she also claimed there was much more to the case besides the killer himself. According to Eatwell, Dillon, who worked as a bellhop, murdered Short at the behest of Mark Hansen. Now, does that name sound familiar? Because I just brought it up a minute ago. He is a local nightclub and movie theater owner who worked with Dillon. Hansen was another suspect that had eventually been let go by the police because he was the owner of the address book that had been mailed to the Examiner with Elizabeth Short's things.
Oh, boy.
He later claimed that he had given the address book to Short as a gift, which is a weird gift. Why are you giving people gifts with your name monogrammed on them? Short had reportedly stayed with Hansen a few nights, and he was one of the last people reported to have spoken to her before her death on a phone call on January 8th.
Okay.
So Eatwell alleges that Hansen had an infatuation with Elizabeth Short, and he came on to her and she blew him off, and the male fragile ego, he then supposedly called on Leslie Dillon to quote unquote take care of her. Hansen, it seems, knew Dillon was capable of murder, but didn't realize just how deranged he really was. Previously, Leslie Dillon had worked as a mortician's assistant, where he could have potentially learned how to bleed a body dry.
There we go.
Eatwell also discovered from police records that Dillon knew details about the crime that had not been released to the public. One detail was that Short had a tattoo of a rose on her thigh, which had been cut out and shoved inside of her genitalia.
Oh,
weird. It's a weird thing to do. It's a weird thing to know. Like, knowing she has a rose on her thigh is one thing,
but knowing where it went, clearly yeah.
So for his part, Leslie Dillon claimed to be an aspiring crime writer and had told authorities that he had been writing a book about the Dahlia case, which never materialized. Despite all the evidence pointing to him, Dillon was never charged with the crime. And Ewell claims he was released due to Mark Hansen's ties with the cops in the LAPD. Pretty plausible with the LAPD's reputation all the way back to the 40s. While Eatwell believes that the department was corrupt to begin with, which it still is, she also thinks that Hansen contributed largely to its corruption by exploiting his ties with certain officers. Another discovery that lent itself to Eatwell's theory was a crime scene found at a local motel. So during her research, Eatwell came across a report by Astor Motel owner Henry Hoffman.
Okay.
Why do people have all these rhymey names? It's weirding me out. The Astor Hotel was a small 10-cabin facility near the University of Southern California. And on the morning of January 15th, 1947, he opened the door to one of his cabins and found the room absolutely covered in blood and shit. And in another cabin, he discovered that someone had left a bundle of women's clothes wrapped up in a brown paper bag. And those clothes had also been stained with blood. But instead of reporting the crime, he just simply cleaned it up.
He just thought blood and shit across the whole wall was normal.
He had been arrested 4 days earlier for beating the fuck out of his wife.
Ooh.
And he didn't want to risk another run-in with the police.
All right. Well, again, don't do crime, folks. But if you just got arrested a few days ago and you walk into this,
shit.
Yeah, stop being a piece of shit. But also, if you walk into the room and it's a potential crime scene and you were just in trouble, I'm sure you were fearing. So, all right, I guess that kind of makes sense. But
yeah, I guess. Can we have like a you don't do crime and I say don't be a piece of shit?
Yeah,
you
can do that. But that literally, once you explain that, though, I just envisioned it in my head. He was like, oh, shit.
It makes sense why he didn't call. Sure. That's justification. So Eatwell believes that the motel is where Elizabeth Short had actually been murdered. Eyewitness reports, though uncorroborated, claim that a woman who resembled Short had been seen at the motel shortly before the murder. Eatwell's theories have not been proven, as everyone involved with the original Black Dahlia murder, like I said, is likely already passed away.
Right.
And many LAPD documents remain locked away in vaults somewhere. Even so, Eatwell remains confident in her findings and believes truly that she solved this mystery and the gruesome case of the Black Dahlia murder. Though we still don't know for certain who killed the Black Dahlia or Elizabeth Short, as I want to name her. These recent theories are very compelling. You know, even the second one has elements that are too coincidental to not be considered as plausible.
It has a few elements, but again, I'm just looking at the surgical aspect of the murder, and I'm like, well...
The surgical aspect is really... Well, but you also have the mortician training.
That too, yeah.
Could they have worked together? Let me not get ahead of myself. So it's possible that the truth is still out there, and it's just waiting for the right investigation to finally bring it to the light. I think the Eatwell theory is a little much. The second one.
Right.
I think that usually the simplest answer is the truest. There's just way too many people involved to have kept a secret of that size with such a famous murder case, in my opinion. If it was Hodel, then he really took it to the grave, and it wasn't until after the fact that his son even was able to investigate. But no one keeps secrets like this, except maybe his secretaries who he killed as well. So he eliminated her. What do you think? What do you think of these two theories?
If I had to choose between the two, I think it's the first theory. I think Hodel did it.
I mean, is it not plausible that Hodel could have gone to this fucking hotel?
Yeah, he could have done it there. That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be all this other random shit. This guy has a hotel, and they found all of this blood and fecal matter all over the hotel walls, and there's nothing saying it had to be Leslie Dillon. Just because of that location. It could have been him. Anyone could have been there.
Exactly.
That's what I think happened. I think she was probably murdered at that Astor Motel, maybe took her back, and he's a fucking lunatic serial killer. I think it was Short Hodel. It's crazy that he was looked at so closely.
I think it was him. And I mean, he might, not for nothing, he might have killed her at the house, but then transported her to the hotel, did the stuff there in the hotel, and then... Oh,
right. We heard screaming on the recording.
Yeah.
Huh. But they didn't know, but that was after. That was after. That's another woman screaming.
Might have been a secretary. I don't know.
Justin!
I don't know.
Oh my God. I didn't connect that.
He might have wiped out the secretary and then went to do what he needed to do.
Justin, that's crazy.
I have to look into this whole secretary thing because I still need to know. Did they find the secretary dead? Was she missing? Did she never show up to work? What's happening here?
No, but I gotta go get that guy's book, I think.
Yeah, that's
what I have to get that book.
That's crazy.
Whoa. That was probably, my brain just exploded. I didn't put all that together. You could tell I wrote this as a sick person because I'm having revelations as I'm reading it out loud. And that is the story of the Black Dahlia, the murder of Elizabeth Short.
Jeez. It's a crazy one. And
Okay, so let's plug the Patreon before we go. You can head on over to patreon.com/Crime of the Arts podcast if you want some more content. Today's episode is going to be hilarious. You just get to watch me blow my nose and cough. We had some funny break-ins where Justin's fire alarm started going off because why the fuck not?
Why not?
Oscar snoring. You can see where he sleeps while I record too. And yeah, so at the $5 level, it's the peek behind the curtain level. You get the video recordings of Justin and I in the studio hanging out together. And, we're going to be adding more content to the Patreon as we go. We're going to do ad-free episodes once people really want to sponsor us. But right now we just have promos in there. And you will get a card from us and you will get some stickers. We got some cool stickers. We do have a second tier called the Don't Do Crime Folks tier. And that is $10 a month. And at that tier, you can win hat and t-shirt giveaways. We are adding more content where we're going to have guests come on and tell stories, and Justin and I are going to react to their stories. Yeah. We will drop one of those on the regular feed, but if you want that, you have to go over to the Patreon. Support us so we can keep going with this endeavor that we love so much. Please share our links and information with everyone you know who may be interested in true crime. We are not only relatable to people who like theater and music and fine art.
Exactly. Anyone that's into true crime can appreciate the podcast.
I mean, if they are into pop culture or movies, we are trying to make this something that is a little bit different than everything else that you get out there. I mean, you kind of get a little bit of movie reviews from us. You also get our unbridled opinions on people, which is, I think Justin's are pretty funny most of the time. So yeah, please share, please engage with us. It kind of made my day to have Tracy email and be like, hey, your podcast is lovely and here's an idea.
I know Lisa sent it to me and I was like, yeah, I felt that feeling too. I was like, oh, this is the first person to like reach out. And it was from another country, which was really cool.
Dude, super cool.
So, and you know, for those that have been currently listening to us from the beginning, we thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you continue to listen. We appreciate the support. Just be sure too to, you know, share the podcast, whether it's via social media or however you choose to share it. Just help spread the word.
Yeah.
The more we can increase our reach, the better it'll be.
And the more we can give you.
Yeah, the more we can give you, because then we can start to curate more feedback on what you want, things like that. So,
yeah, same thing with the Patreon. You know, we want to be able to make the content. We just got to know what you want. And we'll give it to you. So thank you for listening and supporting Crime of the Arts.
So when you look back at the history of the creative arts, it takes a lot of darkness to create the light the arts bring to the world.
Thanks for joining us. And if you enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and head on over to Apple Podcasts to rate and review.
And please check out our sources listed in the episode notes. They are a little bit wild. They're a little bit crazy. They're definitely amazing. So check them out.
And you can find us on all the social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Crime of the Arts Podcast.
We're looking forward to having you back next week. Until next time, peace out, everybody.
Peace out, everybody. Hopefully I won't be dying next time.
Hopefully
Yay.
she won't be dying.
Still ringing in your brain. Why don't you take it back and we'll just cut all this out?
I don't even know where that was at. So yeah. 2008 was a big year for her in Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm dying.
It's all good. Maybe this should stay in it. I'm like, really, all day it didn't go off, but now it's going to go off while I'm working on this.
God, that's so funny.